Hi, welcome back, everybody. Very, very tragic, sad plane crash last night in Washington, D.C. It's, first of all, thoughts and prayers go out to the families and obviously the people who perished. I don't believe, as of right now, I don't believe they have found any survivors. They have found the remains of some people, but I believe the count is 67 between both aircraft, flight crew passengers and the military aircraft. I believe the count is 67. And I'm not here to debate that or to talk about it. It's sad. It's sad, and I can't imagine what these people went through. But I'm kind of angry because this does not need to continue to happen. Last night, as I'm in my house, I was planning today's video, and today's video was actually going to be about technology. I listened in on the earnings call last night for Tesla, and I listened to Elon Musk speak and other people, and there were some journalists there asking questions, but I'm going to get back to the airline in a minute. But I'm angry because these accidents should not be happening. We can avoid these right now in many cases. And the airline industry has come a long way, as has the automobile industry, thanks to safety, but more thanks to somebody like Elon Musk. So, as you can tell, I'm in a Model 3. We have a 2022 Model 3 Tesla. It's very easy to tell by the seats, and obviously, I'm in a Tesla. But I'm a huge fan of this car, the technology. But during the call last night, Elon Musk made a great point where I have full self-driving on this car, so I take weekly trips to my business that are, they're about a 2 hour and 15-minute trip. And I have this, I push a button and the car goes into full self-driving. Now, full self-driving means full self-driving. If you haven't tried it, you need to try it. You need to either find somebody who has a Tesla who has full self-driving in their car, and you need to do it, or you need to test drive a Tesla. By the way, if you want to test drive a Tesla, you can go to my link. There's a link in the description of this video on my channel where they have a Tesla referral program. You push on the referral, you can set up a test drive. And if you decide you're going to buy a Tesla, it gives you $1,000. My link gives you $1,000 off the price of the car. I'm not here to sell that, but you should use that if you're thinking about this. Anyway, the point of this video is to highlight the fact that during the earnings call last night, Elon Musk was touting how amazing full self-driving is. And what he said was, and I want you to listen very carefully to this because I'm going to get back to the airline in a minute. What he said was, when you're driving your Tesla, when I'm driving in full self-driving, it's required. There's a camera up here watching me, right? There's a camera right there, and it's watching me. And if I take my eyes off the road, it's watching my eyes. It's watching my head movement, my eye movement. It's watching my hand movements. It's watching everything I'm doing. So if I take my eyes off the road, if I just do this for a minute, the blue screen will flash on my Tesla monitor here. And if I'm not paying attention, if I don't see the blue screen, all of a sudden my car screen will go red and it will go beep, 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 like alarms start going off in the car, meaning take over. You're not paying attention. And as long as I'm looking at the road and I'm not on my phone, which most people are on their phones in their cars, you know this already. As long as I'm not doing that, this car is driving me, it's watching for other cars, it's moving out of the way of other cars, it sees everything, it's seeing things I don't see as a human being. I can drive like this, and I do. A lot of times I'm just sitting here like this with my arms folded and I'm facing forward. And by the way, there's a million videos online. Just Google, full Tesla full self-driving videos. There are some great guys out there. There's a friend of mine in California, Omar, he does full self-driving videos. There's AI Driver does videos, JC does videos. There's a bunch of guys on there doing them. And you can see the technology for yourself. But anyway, one of the points he made on the call last night was, because of regulation, it's going to take longer and longer and longer for us to be allowed to use this in the mainstream. So what was really funny, he started to talk about that, and he said, You know, he said, the stupidity of this technology that we have, we know how safe it is, we know how good it is, but people are driving in full self-driving now in their Teslas, and they decide, oh, I need to text somebody, or I need to, call somebody or do something. What they do is they take the car out of full self-driving, they grab their phone, now they're in manual. The car is, they're driving the car, the most dangerous thing in the world. So they either have their hand on the wheel like this, and they're on their phone over here like this, they're texting, they're looking at the road, they're texting, they're looking at the road, or they're driving with their knee and they're doing this. We've all done it. Don't tell me you haven't. And Musk's point, and as he's telling us this story, we're all laughing, and we're like, oh my God, I do that all the time. But his point was, we should be allowed to leave the car in full self-driving. And the reason for that is the car is still safer. Even if we're on the phone, the car is still safer than we are as human beings. Regulation won't allow us to do that. So 40,000 people a year die in car accidents. Maybe more, maybe less in some areas, but 40,000 people a year, basically, die in car accidents. Very few people die in airplane accidents, but they still die. Now, my point here is we have to stop calling these things accidents. They're not accidents. You can call it human error. You can call it human ego. You can call it ignorance. You can call it stupidity. You can call it anything you want, but you've got to stop calling it an accident. At the end of the day, when the NTSB do this investigation into this horrific airline crash, it will be a human that will be at fault. And until we get past that and let technology take over and let it control our lives, we're going to continue to die because we're killing each other. Elon Musk said it best. One day there will be a generation, and they're probably 10 years old now. They will get to an age where they're traveling around in cars without steering wheels, and it will drive them here and drive them there, and they will be on planes that will fly them here and fly them there. There will be no humans in charge of this. And those people will say, I can't believe that at one point human beings were in charge of these, 3,000-pound death machines known as automobiles. It'll be like smoking. They'll be like, can you believe people used to smoke cigarettes? Like whose idea was that? So the point of this is, hopefully you know that when you get to the airport, you get on the plane, the pilot takes the plane from the gate, the pilot takes the plane, pilots take the plane to the runway, the pilot takes off, and almost after they leave the ground, I mean, they're basically just up off the ground, they push a button and they're in autopilot. The computer then, the full self-driving or full self-flying computer, whatever you want to call it, it takes them to the destination within, I'm not sure, don't quote me, look it up, 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet. Then at that point, again, the human being takes over and lands the plane. Had those planes last night themselves, the plane and the helicopter, been in charge of all of this, we wouldn't be calling this an accident anymore, because it never would have happened. Because you see, my car can see everything around it. It can see above it, it can see below it, to the side, to that side, to the front, to the back, and to the ground. It sees everything. I can't see everything. Imagine if both of those aircraft last night could have seen each other. They would not have hit each other. It never would have happened. One of the reasons we don't have this technology, we have the technology, it's there. It's just going to take us a long time to get there. And you can take that same technology to the ground crew. The air traffic controller may be at fault here. We don't know yet. Nobody knows who it is. And I hate to blame people. I feel bad for the person who is at fault, because there will be a person at fault. But it will come down to human error, be it the pilots or the ground control crew, the people who are guiding these planes, the air traffic controllers. Maybe one of them was on their phone when they were supposed to be watching the grid. But this has to stop. It has to stop. And just so you know, companies, Airbus, I believe, are way ahead on this. Airbus are already working on a plane that's going to be flying with one pilot. See, we don't need pilots. We really don't need them anymore. But they're going to be flying, they're developing planes that are one pilot plane. Basically, there's no need for two pilots anymore. I hate to say this. It sounds like I'm anti-human. I'm not, but we are the problem. We are the problem. We're the problem in planes and we're the problem in cars. And if you take the opportunity to go drive a full self-driving Tesla, the first thing you will notice when you put that car in full self-driving is that it does everything right. It abides by the speed limit. It turns on its turn signal. It makes the left. It makes the right. It merges onto traffic. It makes the blind left-hand turns, right-hand turns. What you're going to notice more than anything, most of the time when your Tesla is braking or moving forward or going to the right or the left, it's because of the ignorance of the other car, which has a human being in charge of it. I had this conversation this morning at coffee with my friends. I said, I'm guaranteeing you right now, give me 100 cars on a highway in a merging situation in full self-driving, and I will guarantee you that they will merge seamlessly. The ones in full self-driving on the highway will automatically move over, slow down, speed up, get out of the way. And the ones merging will automatically speed up, slow down, get out of the way, and they will merge perfectly. Perfectly. We have the technology to do this. I can't wait for the day when every car is required to be full self-driving. And I can't wait for the day when every airplane is required to be full self-flying. The real breakthrough comes through when you sit on the plane at the gate and the plane backs away from the gate and taxis up the taxiway and taxis onto the runway and takes off by itself, gets to its destination, lands by itself, taxis up the taxiway again and stops at the gate. That's the real breakthrough. That's the real safety. That's when lives are going to be saved. And that's when we don't have to call accidents anymore because they won't exist. Anyway, thank you.